Hi, this is Kingfish. I'm a solo dev working on my dream game called The Waking of Haven. What I think makes this game unique is that it's a blend of casual action RPG gameplay plus a squad building auto battler. You essentially build up a character and you recruit troops to fight for you as you wander through a enchanted forest. It is a roguelite, which means that your character and your squad start each run from scratch, but there is cross-game progression. Today, I want to talk about the setting for that cross-game progression. Much like other games like Gloomhaven or Darkest Dungeon or Heroes of Hammerwatch or Cult of the Lamb, cross-game progression happens by leveling up a central settlement. In this case, it's a place called Haven. Haven and the mysterious old man named Pan act as kind of like a warden over the entire forest, and your task is to level it up so that you can become more powerful and eventually make it deeper into the forest. Now, specifically, I actually want to spend time today introducing you to the update that I released called the Home Sweet Home Update. So, with that said, let's go ahead and dive on in. First of all, Haven and Pan have already been a part of the game from the beginning, but I've been at this for about 3 years and my art has improved a lot. And since there's such a quality gap between where my art is now and where my art skills were at the time that I created the Haven art assets in the first place, I decided I needed to go back to the drawing board. If you're curious, here's what it looked like before, and this is what it looks like now. Candidly, I think this is a massive upgrade and it was long overdue, but it did take me about a month and a half to get all of this art into the game. You see, Haven is a really important part of the game. This is basically the first thing that players see when they complete the tutorial, and it's where they spend the first 60 seconds of each run before they go out and venture off into the forest. To me, I think it's really important to create an experience where it feels like you've stepped into another world, surrounded by, whimsy and mystique and magic. And getting the vibe right was absolutely essential. I'm glad that I made this change. I do want to take a moment to talk about the lore really quick. Haven is actually built on top of ancient ruins, and those ruins surround something called the Soul Monolith, which nobody really knows much about, besides the fact that it preserves your soul if you die. The walls of Haven seem to be built from the remnants of multiple lost or unknown civilizations, and Haven is actually so named because it's actually a gathering place for refugees and immigrants who are fleeing from some sort of great global catastrophe and have magically teleported them into the forest. There's supposed to be a mystery here. There's supposed to be a question. Why are they all gathering in a single place? Now, for this reason, the art actually needed to reflect that multiple different people groups live here, and each have been given their own little slice of Haven to make their own. Pan is also kind of the centerpiece of Haven. He's the caretaker and the warden of Haven. And while I was working on the vibe that I wanted to evoke with Haven, I also made the decision that Pan needed to have a facelift as well. In my previous video, I described how I improved the artwork for Pan, but I didn't want to mention that I've also made a rather big decision recently to make Pan fully voice acted. To give you an idea, here is a clip from the tutorial.
Apologies. I am Pan, and this forest, now I am forced to reside in a place called Haven, where I have gathered the good people of the forest to hide. Once it was the responsibility of these sowers that you see here to guard us, but that time has long passed, and we know not where the sowers went.
Okay, so now to be honest, I did try at first to make the voices myself. And in my personal life, I am a DM for D&D and I do my own voices during campaigns, but I really couldn't measure up to a professional level of quality. So I decided to go with a professional voice actor. It was very expensive, but I'm glad that I did it. The difference in quality is just absolutely worth the price. Now, the choice to go with a voice actor actually wound up being a forcing function for my story writing. Now, I've had the story bouncing around inside, in the back of my head for quite some time, but in order to hire a voice actor, I actually needed to write the script, and since I can't do this incrementally. Since voice actors work in batches, I actually needed to write out the whole script for the voice actor to narrate. This means that I needed to actually plan out and find an ending to the game and all the dialogue leading up to that. Now, I'm not going to spoil that here, but I can confidently say that the ending has been written and it has been voice acted, and I just need to build from where I'm at to that destination. So, by the way, since I decided to hire a voice actor, I also decided to make Pan more interactive with the player and with the world. Now, this includes little things like offering just, quips and remarks if you pick up an item, or if you add new squad mates to your squad. But more importantly, I also added notifications to the player. For example, if there's an oncoming horde, or if there's something called a dark binder who's approaching, or if a champion approaches, or things like that. Kind of as a way for Pan, this semi-omniscient forest spirit, to be able to help guide you through the forest. I took a lot of inspiration from Mission Control, actually, from a game called Deep Rock Galactic. There's a certain kind of interactivity there that I wanted to capture as well. While I was at it, I actually added new encounter types to mix up the gameplay. So right now or I guess previously, you would just travel between different clearings in this enchanted forest, and you would fight off any bad guys in the area, and then you would move on. And that felt a little bit stale, and I thought that I could mix it up with different encounter types. And so I've actually added two additional counter types besides just the typical beat up the enemy style that you kind of expect.
There's a dark crystal ahead. Destroy it before continuing your journey.
First is a dark crystal, which is essentially a large structure which prevents the player from moving forward until the dark crystal has been destroyed. At different health levels, the dark crystal will summon enemies that you have to fight off, and then you can proceed.
A Soa Shrine. Reciting incantations will give your troops a blessing and will unlock the path forward.
The second is a ritual stone, which is an object that requires that you perform incantations to the sowers before you can proceed. Each incantation summons enemies, so there's kind of like a risk and reward of doing them quickly, but not all at once, so that you don't overwhelm your squad. During both events, or I guess all three events, the narrator, or Pan, will be talking you through what to do, and will let you know if you're almost finished, and so on and so forth. The same is actually true for the teleportation event. When you want to teleport back to Haven, the narrator Pan will say, you're almost there, or get closer to the circle, or things like that, just to be helpful. This added layer of voiced interactivity, I think, really just it increases the professionalism of the game, and it seemed so more engaging, that it wasn't, these kinds of things are hard to quantify, but it seems like I went from, candidly, like B level or even C level professionalism up to at least a B. Or a B+. And so that's kind of, really, really what I'm going for. I'm a one-man shop. I'm a solo developer. There's only so much that I can personally accomplish. And I think that the addition of this type of voice acting and narration and interactive gameplay really bumps me up to the level that I'm trying to accomplish. Okay, so I think that actually covers it for the highlights. There's, of course, a ton in here. Haven got a major facelift. Pan is now voice acted. There's new events that the player would interact with as they're going throughout the world. On the whole, I think it's a massive jump forward, and I'm looking forward to hearing feedback. With that said, thank you for watching. If this intrigues you at all, please consider joining our Discord. There is currently an open beta. Feel free to sign up. And if you want to support me, please consider wishlisting on Steam, and of course helping out with the YouTube algorithm by liking, subscribing, and leaving some comments. Have an excellent day.